Hey guys, I was asked to include a film recommendation segment in my next video a few days ago. Um, well, maybe not a segment, they just said film recommendations in general, and I decided instead of making it a segment in just a random video, I would make an entire video based on it. Now, my list of favorite films will change every day, but I decided that I would pick my favorite films from every genre of film, and they'll be the ones that represent the genre the best, and I'll just recommend them to you. I want to just say thank you for your criticism and feedback. It really does mean the world to me, and my absolute priority is that I deliver content that you guys are happy with. So without further ado, let me get into it. And starting off with action, I'm going pretty alphabetically here. Starting off with A, I don't know where it'll go from here, but starting off with action, we have Terminator 2, Judgment Day. When I remake my top 15 favorite films list in a few months, I think that this one will almost definitely show up. It's impossible to talk about this one without mentioning the special effects and Arnold Schwarzenegger's incredible performance as the T-800, I think he is. I think he's the T-800. And it's just everything that an action film should be. It's explosive, it's violent, it's adventurous, it's intense, it's technically impressive, especially for the time. It's way ahead of its time. But the human connection in this film might just be my favorite part, because Arnold's machine learns along the way the depths of human emotion, and there are solutions other than killing, which is just amazing. And for adventure, we have Deliverance. When I think of a lethal, nail-biting adventure, I think of John Voight climbing a mountainside with a bow and arrow, or him rafting down the rapids, or the tension and the guilt of Deliverance. This film, much like the dangers of the rapids that they go down, down the river, it's a horrifying story that just goes downhill really quickly. Next up for animation, we have How to Train Your Dragon 2. This sequel in particular. You'll be seeing some Studio Ghibli later on in this video. But an animated favorite of mine that encapsulates a balance of comedy, adventure, action, fantasy, family, would have to be this one, How to Train Your Dragon 2. It surpasses the original film in just about every way to me. For family films, we have My Neighbor Totoro. Speaking of Ghibli, the sheer joy and imagination and wonder in My Neighbor Totoro will always be such a treat. It's always a joy to watch this one again. There really isn't much of a plot, there isn't much of a protagonist, there isn't much of an antagonist. It's just about the imagination of childhood and family. And it's just, in my opinion, as I reviewed this a while ago, a few days ago, it's one of the most beautiful films ever made. For fantasy, we have Princess Mononoke, yet another Studio Ghibli film. I would have gone with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but since I think most of you have seen all three of those films, I wanted to go with one of the most impressive and stunning animated films ever made, really. This one focuses on environmentalism, industrialism, and animal endangerment, extinction. Well, not extinction, more so endangerment. And Princess Mononoke is a fast-paced and endlessly rewatchable fantasy odyssey that is pretty relevant today, unfortunately, but it's one I have to see again, and I will get it reviewed for you guys on my rewatching films or rewatching movies series. For historical films, we have The Passion of Joan of Arc, which is easily the oldest film on this list, but it also delivers a surprising amount of emotion for such an old film. I think it perfectly encapsulates the anger and the acceptance and the claustrophobia of this woman. and it's honestly nothing short of captivating. Um, you could disagree since this can be considered an uneventful film for the most part, you know. But I think that mostly has to do with its age, and for such a simple story of an execution on the surface, it really gets more complex the more you dive into it. It's an absolute classic. For horror, we have I Saw the Devil. Now, there were so many contenders for this one because horror is my favorite genre, as some of you might know. Uh, like old slashers in particular, uh, or more popular modern films might be more suitable for me to pick. But I decided to go with a slightly more obscure pick that maybe not all of you have seen. Um, but I think that I Saw the Devil is honestly a horror film that horror creators should aspire to not adapt but learn from, because it's everything horror should be, to me at least. It's right in between horror and thriller, but I think it's a horror film because it's about a man that's barely even considered a man. He's a devil, really, surprisingly, and he kills the wrong woman, and that woman's boyfriend goes after him in the most creative but also brutal, bloody, and never-ending way possible. It's essentially about this man who will not stop at any extent to get his revenge. And it's brutal, it's unforgiving, it's genuinely intense and horrific, and even for an Asian film, I mean. And I'd be very cautious about checking this one out if you don't know anything about it. So I'll advise you guys to be careful about that one. For comedy, we have In Bruges. Um, Now, the funniest films, in my opinion, can be the ones that take a pretty serious, bleak situation and find the humor in it or make it humorous. And I think this is what In Bruges is at its core. This perfectly describes it. The first part is pretty mysterious and it's pretty foreboding, but as it climaxes, it asks a lot of heavy questions about, redemption and forgiveness. And the one thing I didn't lose throughout this entire thing, throughout the entire runtime, is its humor, which is just incredible, which makes me really happy. And it's a reason why I rewatch In Bruges pretty often. For crime, we have The Departed. And I was going to go with Seven, directed by David Fincher, but I'm actually working on a video for that film right now, like at the minute. Uh, so I'm gonna pick another crime favorite of mine. Uh, Scorsese's best, in my opinion, The Departed, and one of my favorite films ever made. It's a cat and mouse thriller. And I think it has the best cast I have ever seen. The cast is ridiculously good. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, Alec Baldwin, and Martin Sheen. I mean, you can't really beat that, right? And I mean, the constant fear and the constant intensity of The Departed is what makes it a modern classic, and it's just one of my favorite films. I can go in depth on that one again if I rewatch it again for you guys. For music films or musicals, we have Amadeus. Now, I would have gone with a musical like South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, or The Sound of Music, or Singing in the Rain, but I decided to pick a film that's based off of music or a musician, and my favorite has to be Amadeus. It's a grand, sweeping epic of a film. It's very personal, mind you, um, about the great Wolfgang Mozart. And it's just stunning. It's just stunning, really. The stunning orchestral performances and the surprising amount of comedy in it is what makes it a classic. For mystery films, we have yet another um, crime thriller, and that would be Mystic River, directed by Clint Eastwood. I'm also working on a video for this one, but that won't be in the near future like Seven. The Seven video will be. Um, for the most part, Clint Eastwood is very good at directing films. He's made a few classics like Unforgiven and Gran Torino and Million Dollar Baby. I could go on, but Mystic River just has to be my favorite because it deals with guilt, trauma, and revenge in some of the most realistic and raw ways I've ever seen, honestly. And the claustrophobic and grimy atmosphere and the melancholic music that Clint Eastwood directed himself or composed himself is just outstanding to me. And it's just a very personal film of mine. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't say this is one of their favorites, but I would. And the three main performances here has to be my favorite trio in a film, I think, aside from Jaws. Played by Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, and Kevin Bacon, who gives the best performance out of the three, surprisingly enough. And yeah, I just think Mystic River is a masterpiece. For romance, we have another film that I intend on making a video at some point, probably sometime next year for its anniversary. That would be Cameron Crowe's Jerry Maguire. Tom Cruise is one of my favorite actors because he can play a wide array of people, but the charismatic and vulnerable performance of Jerry has to be his best, in my opinion. The film ultimately shows that his character is trying to find his place in the world and find human connection and prioritize that over his career. That's a really important message, and the film's just hilarious. It's really funny and it's iconic, and the love story is genuinely magical to me. You might like it, you might not, but still, I would definitely recommend Jerry Maguire. It's not a sports film. I know it's advertised as a sports film, and it looks like a sports film, and yes, it has a lot of sports aspects in it, but that's not what it's about. And it probably is my favorite film of all time, so that's why I have to get into it at some point. For science fiction, we have Children of Men, and the non-stop quest and haunting realism of this film is just masterful. It's enhanced by the jaw-dropping, visuals and the intensity and how it looks like one shot for most of the film. And the premise is just incredible. A pregnant woman in a world where women are infertile, going through war zone after war zone to protect her baby is just, that's genius. I mean, sure, there's probably stories very, very similar to that, but it just executes it in such a great way that I can't help but give Children of Men a 5 out of 5 stars. And honestly, I think I need to see it a few more times again just to catch every detail to review it for you guys. For thriller films, we have Michael Clayton, and I rewatched this one recently, earlier in August, and when I first watched it, I wasn't the biggest fan, but rewatching it again, I realized that I was a fucking idiot, and that it is just masterful, and it is so badass. Like, I know that's not a very mature or constructive way of criticizing a film, but it is just badass. Michael Clayton is like the coolest movie ever made. Because it's about a fixer in a corrupt law firm, and he's confronted with his friend getting into serious trouble involved in this chemical company. And I know it doesn't sound very interesting, I know it doesn't sound very action packed, but for what it is absolutely incredible. And George Clooney is just amazing in this film. I'm gonna have to get around to reviewing this one too. I'm gonna have to review all these films really. For war films, we have what I consider best represents the horror and depravity of war, and that is Come and See. And some war films are heroic, but Come and See is probably the opposite, the complete opposite. There aren't any heroes. I mean, it has glimmers of hope, glimmers of comedy, glimmers of relief, but at the end of the day, it's ultimately a nightmare. It's a nightmare of a film. It's the closest film. When I watched it the first time, it was the closest thing I got to feeling like I was watching a nightmare unfold. It was just, it's a mesmerizing film for film students to see or film enthusiasts, but I would not watch this one casually. I probably wouldn't watch it again, honestly, but it is absolutely incredible. And I think it's a war film that everybody should see once. For Western films, we have a pretty understandable pick because I mean I haven't seen many Westerns. I would have gone with Django Unchained, but I think that the film that best represents Westerns is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I know, I couldn't come up with anything else that I enjoyed more than this one, and that's probably just because it's a fucking masterpiece. The standoff at the end is just one of the best things I've ever seen in a film. You can't beat that, can you? I mean, it's not very easy to. Um, that one scene alone with Ennio Morricone's score is just, you can't beat it. Everybody knows it. Everybody recognizes it, even if they haven't seen the film. And that's what film should aspire to be. That's what screams iconic. If you haven't seen the film but you recognize part of it, that's next level iconic. So yeah, those are my recommendations for every genre. I hope you check some of these out. Hopefully some of them sound interesting to you. Thank you for watching, and if you want me to give you any more movie recommendations, I'd be happy to in the comment section below. Alright, bye guys.